cash out.
Coinbase
Coinbase
has made a fantastic on-ramp and off-ramp. Like, it connects with my Chase bank account.
No
I
problem.
Can load 50 grand on an instant. I mean, instant on the Coinbase.
Yeah, right away.
And then I can sell. I can, transfer it right back to Chase Bank and, or any major bank, because they have I think they use Plaid or one of those. Anyway, it's like the on-ramp, off-ramp deal.
Yeah.
And it's super, it's super quick. They have that figured out. So
but it's just running on the ACH rails, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the banks are going away, but I'm going, why haven't the banks, I guess, banks don't hold your stocks necessarily unless you're, JP Morgan, which does,
Right.
but I'm surprised that they're not in the business of holding people's Bitcoin, and it doesn't seem like they've even considered it.
Welcome to the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. We hope you enjoy this episode. Today, we're really excited. In studio, joining us, managing partner of the firm, James Huber, as well as joining us remotely, we have Derrick Hess of ZeroPoint. Derrick, welcome to the Payments Experts Podcast.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, we're excited. You came on you commented on one of our other podcasts where I was like, crypto's dead. I sold all my crypto. And you responded, basically an F you, James. Not dead. I love crypto. You can get on a podcast and set the record straight. But so we want to talk about that. But before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing these days, work-wise?
Well, I'm traditional retail ISO, like so many of us out there are. That's what I've, cut my teeth on, and can't get away from it. But that's the basis for the future. But yeah, so we're retail ISO, retail restaurant, all the normal things you do, sell clover, that sort of deal. But my main company, you guys had helped me out with to do an exit on, actually. And so now I have ZeroPoint, which was that I have actually a patent on, trademark patent, not an actual patent, but a trademark on ZeroPoint. That was a fun process. And so now that's specifically what I'm doing with ZeroPoint, poised for the future, which I do believe is crypto. So, but for the meantime, what pays the bills is the retail ISO side of things.
Okay, so you sold your book of business, and then you're like, I'm done, and then you got roped back in. How'd that come? How'd you end up, starting it back up, or were you doing it to cover your, earnouts and stuff?
Right. Well, this is the thing. You have to have income, right? I mean, I'm young, younger. I mean, we're not young anymore, but I'm young enough to where I don't have to exit the workforce, I guess we should say. So it's like, hey, for the last 20 years, what have I known as payments? Where can you go? And especially with cash discount, everyone knows this. If you're halfway decent at it, I mean, you can walk into your local restaurant and have a 5-minute conversation and make, $3,000 a month. So where can you do that in any other business? I haven't found that yet. And that's actually how I got into payments, was because I was looking for something that I wanted to do. This is 22 years ago. I'm saying, what do I want to do with my life? And I'll give you a quick story. So I was selling Yellow Pages. Remember the phone book? So I was selling Yellow Pages for Bell South, since I'm in Louisiana.
Selling
the
ads.
Ads in the phone book.
They just drop that stuff on your
right. Well, selling the ads in the phone book.
And then I'd rip it.
And I came across the whole thing.
That's it. Derrick, James is too young to remember what Yellow Pages are.
I remember what the Yellow Pages were. I remember Randy Macho Man Savage ripping them in half.
I remember that too. So I ran across a retail ISO, and he was explaining to me what in the world they do, because I'm trying to sell it as ads. So what is your average customer worth? The whole sales pitch. And I'm like, wait, so I can go into a business and sell them this credit card machine and I will just get paid indefinitely on it as long as they use the service. And this was just blew me away. And I mean, this is 2003, 2004. And so I thought about it and I quit my job at Yellow Pages, which was benefits and everything and the whole 9 yards, first corporate job, and set out feet on the street to sell merchant services, not knowing anything. So the rest, I beat the statistical odds, that's for sure, because here I am still in the business.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I talked about this on a couple podcasts now of, is the ISO model dead? Is it going to survive? What do you think?
It has to evolve. Everyone knows that the ISVs are becoming payments companies. I tell this story, when I got in the business, and I think everyone can relate. You can go up Main Street and sell 8 to 9 out of 10 of the businesses would actually be a potential client or use your service. And now if you walk up and down Main Street, maybe 2 out of 10 can use your services. Vertical software integrations, point of sale. The vertical markets are really have done it. Your veterinary clinics using a veterinary software.
Yep.
A dog grooming or whatever is using their own software. Restaurant is still a market because if you're good enough, you can rip out their full point of sale system. But for the other industries, gyms, they're using a gym management system. You get it. So ISVs are becoming the payments company.
Right.
So if you're an ISO and you don't have a vertical software to offer, our time is ticking.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's my thought on what the future is. So take that as it, and that's one of the reasons why I did a somewhat of an exit of the industry was I'm hedging my bets,
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, too bad you didn't stick with the Yellow Pages, right? So
hey, I definitely got off that ship. They tried online advertising. It just never, they were a day late and a dollar short, even though they had. See, that's a good one because they had the money. The New Orleans phone book, what I sold, was doing $60 million annual volume just in ads in the phone book. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is 2003. Why couldn't they take that money and pour it into online and advertising, et cetera? They just were too big, too slow to make a transition. And I feel like the ISO world is in that same market. I mean, you have First Data and TSYS, unlimited resources, right? What are they doing? Yeah. What are they doing? TSYS can't even come up with a point of sale. Clover First Data had to buy Clover,
right?
And the service is fantastic with Clover, So, So what's the future here? That's the future. If you don't have a vertical software, you're running out of time, and the next frontier is definitely crypto into payments. So
why is that? So I brought up the other day, I heard it on the radio on NPR of somebody going, crypto's been around longer than Uber, longer than WhatsApp. Nobody's using it. So
it's because it's historically something for the the crypto bros or the degens as they call it, the gamblers out there,
right?
But where else could you use and buy an crypto asset that fluctuates in value, generally historically to the positive, like Bitcoin, for example? We'll just use Bitcoin because everyone knows Bitcoin. Bitcoin has outperformed every single, the S&P, it's outperformed gold. Since its inception by thousands of percent. And year over year, I think it's still well over 100% gains, even though it is volatile as heck, right? So, and Bitcoin's a slow mover. I have assets in my portfolio that will make you sick. You open it up and you're down 60%, and then you close it, and 2 days later you're up 60%.
Yeah.
So it's wild, right? But you have to have
miserable.
the stomach, right? And so what I'm saying is, it's historically been used for the younger generation that wants to gamble,
Right.
but big institutions are getting involved. Bitcoin with Michael Saylor, who owns MicroStrategies, he's on I think is it the S&P 100 or the NASDAQ 100, whatever the one is. If you buy into that index, you are buying Bitcoin whether you want to or not, and that is that's bringing mainstream in.
Yeah, I mean, BlackRock got their ETF, right?
Right.
So yeah, but I'm going. When are people going to use it? Other than, or is the use just I'm going to gamble and give myself a heart attack and make myself miserable as I sell at the wrong time?
Well, it's used. It's used on, I would say, the back end channels, the channels that we in the mainstream don't use. Like if you're on the crypto Twitter aspect or X, people will use it for everything. I mean, you want to buy a high end watch in Miami, you can use crypto. The problem is there's not an easy access for merchants to use it. People want to use it. I mean, I don't know if you remember, we'll give an example. Let's say, Apple Pay with the tap of the credit card, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to actually use that service? The machines were there, people were there, but it took me, I'm going to be honest, it took me a long time to realize, wait, I can just tap my card. I thought it was dumb, but yeah, you can just tap it.
And now it's the norm.
That's the norm now. And then people are like, if I don't have Apple Pay, I can't use, the young folks, the girls and stuff that don't wear purses, they just have a phone around their neck. That's everything.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, I saw the airport, like a couple airports are saying you can use a digital ID now. You seen that? You can put your because you just have your phone. Don't lose your phone.
Right. That's
But no. So do you think there will be any meaningful adoption across the board? I mean, I don't think you're going to get most people who are over 50 right now to ever want to use it, but they're all going to die. I mean, we're all going to die, but they're not going to die apparently for a long, long time now. I mean, they're saying if you can live another 30 years, you're going to live another 50.
That's true. I can tell you there are things that's happening, like Coinbase is a very large company, out in you guys on the West Coast. They're doing things to bring in normal people. Like my mom, for instance, okay, she downloaded the Coinbase app and it's like, learn about crypto and you get $5 of this token or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, telling me I have $70 just from learning what crypto is. So there's big companies that are looking to bring in normal. I mean, she's 60 something, so I'm like bring in normal people. But to answer your question specifically, it's not adopted because merchants do not have a way to accept it. Mm-hmm. And onboarding crypto for you, if you wanted to say, if we just walked on somebody across the street and said, hey, buy Bitcoin, they're like, I don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's been the hard part. So that's why you have these crypto wallets that are taken, and then there's a million different wallets, right? So I think the future is going to be a single point of payment, meaning scan this QR code or tap your phone, and it's going to work with every wallet, whatever it is. It's going to instantly convert it. Merchants is going to convert it to USDC, right? So they have a stable coin instantly at the point of transaction. I think you guys were talking about stable coins in something last podcast. That's what had me interested. Switch it instantly to USDC, hit a merchant's bank account. They're happy, no volatility, right?
Yeah.
And cheaper than the payments network. So Visa and MasterCard, as we know, man, look, every April and October come up with modifications. It's never a reduction in cost. It's a modifications of max extraction, right?
Right.
So that's where I am. Bit of a rant. Sorry about that.
No,
I'm
it's
passionate.
good. It's interesting because you're sharing a view that I hear less and less and less, because I was all into crypto. Jeremy and I were going nuts. My wife started a metaverse company because we're going, let's go help people buy this real estate. Because when that was all going nuts, I tried to do it and I was like, I can't figure this out. And okay, I figured out how to do it. I was like, how do I know this is good real estate? And so I couldn't do it. And there was people, and we called a company that was doing this, and they go, we can't even keep up with our demand. Like, we're constantly hiring virtual brokers.
This is crazy.
And it was going nuts. But then all of a sudden, I haven't even heard somebody say metaverse. When you say
Metaverse fell off. So did NFTs, the digital art.
Gone. Gone. No one talks about it.
Now I will say there's still some NFTs that are awesome, like Bored Ape Yacht Club. I mean, those guys are still selling minimum $26,000 for a picture of an ape, up to $1 million. One just came out the other day. This is ridiculous. It's a wizard, like this neon wizard. It's $32,000, and I'm saying,
I need that.
If you had an extra $32,000, you're going to buy a JPEG picture of a neon wizard. That's
I
like
never
cartoon,
understood.
Looked like a 5-year-old drew.
I didn't understand the art aspect of it, but I did from a technology standpoint. I was going all in on NFTs of, my
real world assets.
The deed to my house should be an NFT.
Mm-hmm.
Your intellectual property should be embedded in that. All of these things. And it's interesting because that just kind of, I don't hear it at all. I think
it's not done. The real world asset part and fractional ownership is something that is definitely part of there. Say like us three guys, we wanted to get together and buy, a Van Gogh painting, or we can't afford a Van Gogh. So what we'll do is we'll own 1/60th or whatever of that Van Gogh. The NFT is our, token,
right, that
we own a piece of it. It's embedded in the blockchain. No one can, refute that. And as that piece of art increases in value, so does our holding. So that's the cool part of like the blockchain and real world assets. It's locked in, public record. Anyone can research it. Now, it's anonymous unless you say like, hey, this contract address is what I own, and you can prove it. But for the most part, it's still anonymous.
Okay. Are people still using that? Is that a real thing? People are using NFTs to record their ownership and things?
I haven't all of that is theoretical. I haven't seen any real world applications of it, but it does exist. Right now, the NFTs is more of the novelty, I think, of art to help digital art. That is to help people understand the concept of it. Yeah. Us normal guys, that's the crazy part. They call it Web3. Have you heard the term Web3?
They've been talking about Web3 for 5 years. At least.
Right. So that's what Web3 is. Everything crypto, everything decentralized, no Chase Bank, where it's private, everything on chain, as they call it. On chain is viewable in every way. Now there's good and bad. I don't want to get into the privacy aspect of it, but it's kind of cool because we can see like how much Bitcoin, how much the government owns of different assets, where if you ask the government how much gold do you have in Fort Knox, they'll never tell you.
They'll never tell you. I don't think they have any.
Yeah.
Did they get rid of it all?
I think so. That's the rumor.
Jeremy one time sent his money to the wrong place. He went and found it on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Derrick, it was wrong. It literally, I think it took me 14 hours of frantic, I learned a lot about crypto in that 14 hours.
And it was amazing. $60.
Yeah, exactly. But I did. I found it. And I was able to retrieve it, which was pretty amazing to me. So you're right. It is. It's there. It's real. And that level, it is safe. It's a real contract, and I was able to track it down. But again, who has 14 hours if something like that happens, right?
Jeremy does. It's not like he has a job.
Well, hey, if you drop
after this,
I did that on company time
on the ground, and someone picked it up. Good luck, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I was all for it. I'm still going. I just don't see people using it mainstream, and it's not going to be like the kids with their phones where they don't even bring their wallet. And if you don't take Apple Pay, I'm not going there, because I mean, everywhere does,
Right.
for the most part now.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
So,
Sophisticated.
this is the thing. You have Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, all these apps that pretty much everyone under 30 has on their phone already. Um, the ramp is there for crypto. So you can buy crypto with all of those different wallets. What's missing is payment devices. Going to Starbucks or your local, place that's running a Clover system or a Shift4 system or whatever it is that has that option, scan the QR code. So like on the receipts we have on Clover and Shift4 and all these other ones, scan your QR code receipt and pay right then and there. You don't have to wait for your server. So if you could scan that QR code and it brings up a link to, like, okay, how do you want to pay? Your Visa, MasterCard, or Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, whatever it is, you hit it, boom, and it interacts with your wallet. That's the future, is whatever's on your phone, whatever wallet you choose to use is going to be accepted. That's watch. That's the future, in my opinion. And there has to be a bridge between Web 2, which is what we live in, like real world, and Web 3, which is the future. The bridge is going to have to be mass adoption. And Web 3, these crypto bros don't understand real world. So it's going to take the payments industry, and this is where I think it is. It's going to take the payments industry, as ISOs and agents and all of that, just like we did in the 50s and 60s. That's why people, the banks hired whatever. So it's going to take us to bring that to market. And that's I think the future of ISOs and agents is bringing a future. We're really good at that. We're really good at, convincing merchants to use a cash discount, which was the biggest, psych op in the world, where we convinced them to raise their prices so we could make more money. That was epic, right? But this, I think, will be reversed, because crypto, we're going to lower the merchants' prices. Honestly, we really will, because wholesale costs are in the 1% range instead of 2-3 plus, and still make the same margin. That's my optimistic macro view of crypto.
And another way to do it, I would think, and not a sales guy, but is if you're going to the customer and you're going, like you said at the beginning, everybody's doing surcharge and cash discounting. If you go to the customer, hey, it's actually cheaper if you use crypto. No one's going to use cash,
right?
Just to take advantage of the cash discount, because we all want our rewards points and all that. But if you're going, hey, it's going to cost you, $6 for this purchase, $100 purchase, or $1.
Right.
Then you're going, I'm going to use my crypto, because Coinbase even has a rewards card. So
they do. No chargebacks too. Well, crypto's Coinbase is still using the payment networks, unfortunately.
Right. Because I got one. It had a little Visa logo on it. And
right.
I was like, me and my motley crew of friends ready to get rid of the banks and everything. I was like, darn, our mission failed. They sold out.
But no chargebacks too. So, hey, look, for high risk, I think this is going to be something for high risk as well, since you can convert it to USDC, as long as it's not federally illegal, right?
Right.
You can transfer it over to USDC and there's no chargeback. So you want to buy a mattress online, or something wild that there's a ton of chargebacks as a merchant.
Yeah.
Is reading between the lines here, guys, something along the lines of Visa and MasterCard haven't figured out to get their piece of the pie yet, and they don't want a disruptor, so that's why it hasn't been mass adopted? Is there any truth to that?
I don't think so. I think because Visa has said outright that, Visa and Wells Fargo, they're going, we're not worried about crypto. And, the one thing that I've said before is if crypto captured 3% of the market, it would be an unparalleled success. It would be amazing. Now, to your point, though, in 1955, less than 1% of the world had a credit card. Way less.
Right.
1960, probably still less than 1%. I think maybe it started getting closer to that, but now every single person in the world, not in the world, most people in the United States have at least a card.
Yes.
So, it's possible, but my thing is, you can't really get rid of the banks and you can't get rid of Visa and MasterCard, because how do I get my money into crypto? Unless, I'm paying Jeremy in crypto. I think you actually asked me to do that one time. You're like, can you pay my wages in Bitcoin? He's like, this is how I'm committed.
That's how committed it's true, Derrick. We did have that conversation, and thank God, James talked me out of it.
You said you've been with him for half a decade here. Yeah. If you would have been paid in Bitcoin 5 years ago, dude, I think you'd be all right.
I would have sold it at the point dip each time.
Yeah.
Pinned it at the bottom.
I think banks will play a part. Visa, MasterCard, they're not afraid yet, but right now the market cap of crypto is like 2.7 trillion, I believe, dollars. That's your world, the full market cap, but they think it's going to hit 10 trillion in 4 or 5 years. So that's a 3x. So I believe that's going to be the case for sure.
I'm surprised the banks haven't gotten in the game a little bit, because the big players are Coinbase and Binance. I don't even know if anyone uses Binance anymore, because I think you kind of
in the UK it's still big in the UK.
Asian countries.
Yeah,
Binance.
Okay. Overseas.
Well, here, because basically they're shut down here. I remember I had trouble getting my money out even. Not that much trouble, but you couldn't just trade it for cash anymore.
Right.
You had to send it somewhere else to cash out.
Coinbase
Coinbase
has made a fantastic on-ramp and off-ramp. Like, it connects with my Chase bank account.
No problem.
Can load 50 grand on an instant. I mean, instant on the Coinbase.
Yeah, right away.
And then I can sell. I can, transfer it right back to Chase Bank and, or any major bank, because they have I think they use Plaid or one of those. Anyway, it's like the on-ramp, off-ramp deal.
Yeah.
And it's super, it's super quick. They have that figured out. So
but it's just running on the ACH rails, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, the banks are going away, but I'm going, why haven't the banks, I guess, banks don't hold your stocks necessarily unless you're, JP Morgan, which does,
right.
But I'm surprised that they're not in the business of holding people's Bitcoin, and it doesn't seem like they've even considered it.
Interesting.
No, I went to my JP Morgan Chase rep, a financial advisor guy, and he's a young guy, under 30, and no, they are not. He doesn't want to hear about anything digital assets. They are drinking the Kool-Aid 100%. But I'm saying, like, okay, but what are you doing? No, that's their stance at the moment. But if you're going to be buying these ETFs, and that's in Chase,
right?
So
yeah. And to your point, yeah, if they're publicly traded, so yeah, everybody who has a diversified portfolio has some of those index funds. So yeah, you're already in.
Yes. That's the magic with BlackRock and all these ETFs that are coming about. Hey, if it wasn't something that was going to be the future, why would any of these huge BlackRock, Kathy Wood with her ARK investments, she's really big, all these crazy future people that are investing in Tesla, Bitcoin, why?
I'm just thinking they just don't want to miss out. They were missing out. There was a ton of money going into it, especially, starting in the beginning of the pandemic. That's when things really went nuts. And they're going, well, we're missing out. We need a piece of that action. We're not going to let you guys do that over there. So, well, it's interesting. You've convinced me. I'm going to go cash back in.
You don't know what you started, Derrick.
If you would
started something here.
Send me a text. I'll give you my top 10. Not financial advice, right? But that I really feel I'm, as they say, I'm really bullish on. I really feel like, there's there. So
yeah, I had those too, and I finally or no, it was, we were trying to buy a house and the amount that I needed was like the exact amount that I had in crypto assets. And I was like, it's a sign, just cash out. And so I did. And my life has been so much more peaceful.
Derrick, for a while, I'm not joking, James would come in pretty much every day, and not to mention texts at night, but saying, hey, did you see what happened to Solana? Did you buy in on this one? And these are half of them I hadn't even heard of. James was buying everything.
Most of them went to zero.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, easy. Hey, at least it was slower than like a roulette wheel where you can, it's just zero or double or zero. At least you have infinite, but all good, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. You got any closing thoughts for us? How can people get in touch with you for your financial advice? Just kidding.
Yeah. Not financial advice. Yeah. Hey, I'm on LinkedIn, Derrick Hess on LinkedIn. 0.us.com is our ISO. We still run, small ISO shop, nothing too crazy, but I'm always open for these kind of discussions if you just want to shoot the breeze.
All right, great. This has been great. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much, Derrick.
You take care.
And thank you for listening to the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. Visit us online today at globallegallawfirm.com.